Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh my days. You know what? No, we're not gonna wear it. See, my armpits here are sweating. It's hot, then it's cold, and then it's a pretty color though. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you guys so much for joining me. It is your lovely host. I am your lovely host, Nihanda Ihino Helker, and today we're gonna be talking about what are we talking about today? Oh, the wedding. Hey, the wedding, the marriage or the wedding, guys. Are we really ready for this conversation? Now, it is not Sunday yet. We're working up onto having our conversations on Sunday or Monday, and it's called Nihanda in the comment section. And this is where I discuss a lot of the comments, or I pick a couple of comments, some disagreeing and some kind of in between, and we talk about what I have said over the week. And so if you guys have any comments that you want me to review, please leave me a message and I will see if I can get back to you. So let's get into this video because this video is about marriage versus wedding. Have you ever met that couple or maybe that woman? So we have a few kind of people that this is dedicated towards. And one of them is the woman who is always engaged, right? She has been engaged a couple of times and um things didn't fall apart or things fell apart or things didn't work out and they broke up. Or we have the woman who has been engaged for 9 years and hasn't set a date yet as to when exactly the wedding is going to take place. And these people tend to give you a couple of answers as to why they haven't just gone down to the courthouse and just did the deed, right? Like what's the issue? And you will hear them say things like, well, don't have enough money for the big ceremony. I want to have a big wedding. I want to be able to invite everybody. I want to, there's something about having a big wedding that creates a stuckness that the show is more important than the overriding sealing the deal to make sure that you and this person get to the I do. These people don't actually want to be married. I'm gonna go out on a limb and, be the sacrificial lamb and tell y'all what y'all don't want to hear. All right. Because so people are gonna ask me about my marriage, right? Like I've been married twice. This is my second marriage and longest relationship. And I remember when I got married the first time, we had four people and it was a courthouse wedding. We just wanted the document signed. We wanted to make it official. And there was a lot of like we didn't really think it through feeling. So don't do that. Don't rush into things with your partner. But I think that there is something to be said for women and men of a particular age who take too long to finalize the details of sealing the union and making sure that that union um is official. And so when people ask me, how long did you know your husband? How long is too long? I would say that a 9-year engagement is too long. And depending on your age, if you are, here's the deal, right? So if you're a woman who is in her 20s, you can afford to wait long. But there is the emotional investment aspect of the relationship. And if you invest yourself emotionally into a person who is not going to commit to you, which is something that I did in my 20s to a particular young man who wasted 6 years of my life. Okay, let me not say he wasted. I allowed him to take me for a ride for a very long time. And before I realized that this guy was not serious with me. And it was very fortunate. Like, I feel very lucky because he said to me eventually, like somewhere in the middle or towards the end of our relationship, that he wasn't interested in me like that. And I was just like, wow, thanks. And many years later and a emotional investment later, now you're telling me that I have to basically choose between being just your boo for the rest of my life or starting over from scratch. And this is a very hard decision to make. So I can understand why, if a person has alluded or has talked to you about being married and then you don't get to the I do, you don't get to the date, you don't get to a place, you don't get any specifics in between a particular time. I would say roughly within a year or two about where the wedding is going to happen, how many people are going to be there, what date it's going to be. Then I would say that this person doesn't really mean business and they don't actually have a plan for you. I know that life happens and circumstances happen that prevent a person from being able to make such a commitment. But I think that if you are not clearly speaking about this commitment and setting down hard ground rules about how long you want to wait for the person to resolve the issue, you will find yourself in a situation where you're just simply wasting your time waiting for that person to see value in you when they're actually just not, for whatever reason, ready. They may have good intentions. They may be actually worried about them not being able to deliver on said um, commitment, but that's not your problem. All right. Like, you either get on with the procedure of just going down to the courthouse and signing the documents, or having a little small wedding with just you and the witnesses and maybe your parents or whoever close loved ones that you want. Then you're just going to have to make sure that you are understanding what your options are outside of that person's lack of ability to tie something down. Because a lot of people tend to forget that marriage is actually a business deal, and it's just solidifying certain legal elements of your relationship with this person and showing them that it is a serious commitment. Men that understand that will not waste your time on the elaborate show of the wedding. They want to use as much money as possible on their life with you, which is one of the reasons why I did not get an engagement ring. And a lot of my homegirls were like super mad because like they found out that he got money and oh my God. But that was not important for me. And I would not have allowed my husband to spend, how much does he make? And three times his paycheck would then be 10,000 euros, around that. I think at that time that's what he was making, three something thousand euros. But I wouldn't allow him in good conscience to spend that kind of money on a wedding when we have to move our entire family to Germany, get a place big enough for the three of us and whatever future children we have. And once I started talking like that to him, he started to be like, oh my gosh, she's the one that I have to marry, because she is the one who is logically thinking about our future together and not just about putting on a show. And that's the difference between a wife and a girlfriend, is that a woman who understands that your union together has certain investigatory implications. And it's not just about what I can get out of the situation, but also what I bring to the table. Then the men can understand that this woman is not seeing you as a tool, and women can understand that looking like that to a man and not like manipulating him, that's not what I'm saying, really starting to adopt that this is the most important thing for marriage minded and marriage material women to have in their head as a reality, would get you closer to the I do than actually just obsessing about like what you're going to wear and which 100 guests you're going to invite. We had a wedding party of 50 or 40 people. Yeah, yeah, real talk. And for me, that was still pretty big. We had a Brockdong wedding, and my family, coming from, they're kind of show people. They like to show off. They were really, really surprised that this wedding was super small and super like old school traditional Belizean wedding. I almost even had a cart and buggy, like the old school cart and buggy, not like one of the fancy ones dress up like Meghan and Harry style. I was gonna have like the real, but we couldn't figure it out. But anyways, those are the things that are important to marriage. And I think that once you understand the difference between the wedding and the marriage, you will get closer to I do. Make sure that you have your priorities straight when you are having this conversation with your partner, and make sure that you have a deadline as to how long you plan on waiting for a person to get themselves together so that they can sign on the dotted line, so you can have your life together planned out and move forward in the future. So, if you like this content, of course, like and subscribe. Please leave your comments down below. And of course, for the future, please make sure you stay safe and stay free.